Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I never imagined I'd hear the words she said that Thursday evening. Not in a million years. Not from Emily. Emily, who had once told me she'd never leave my side. Who had laughed at my terrible jokes, held my hand through my worst days, and promised she'd always be honest with me. And yet, there she was, scrolling through her phone like the most ordinary day had nothing left for us. And then she looked up, eyes sharper than I'd ever seen them, and said, "I'm getting married to someone else." The words hit me like a brick wall. My first instinct was disbelief. "Wait, what?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. My heart was pounding in that weird rhythm that makes your chest feel like it's running away before you do. Emily tilted her head, like she was examining me, studying my reaction. "Yeah, we've been dating for 6 months. I thought you should know." For a moment, I couldn't even respond. My mind raced, trying to process a truth that didn't fit anywhere. 6 months. 6 months she never mentioned anyone. 6 months where I thought we were rebuilding the spark, laughing, making plans, sharing dreams. And apparently all of it had been just me. I swallowed, forcing my voice to stay calm. "Great," I said finally. "Go live with him then." She blinked, like she didn't expect me to react that way. Maybe she had expected anger, tears, begging. Maybe she thought I'd crumble. But I didn't. Not that night. Not at that moment. There was silence after my words. Heavy, almost suffocating. She looked down at her hands, then back up at me, and for a brief second I caught the old Emily, the one who used to apologize for being late, who used to smile when I made a terrible pun, the one who believed in us. But that was just a memory. A shadow of something that had died quietly while I wasn't looking. She started, but I held up a hand. "Don't. There's nothing to say." She exhaled, a little heavier than normal, as if the weight of her decision had hit her at the same time it hit me. And then she left the room. Just like that. No slamming doors, no shouting, no tears from her side. Just quiet, like she had already moved on inside her mind, even if she was still standing in my apartment. I sat down, letting my hands rest on my knees. My head spun, trying to figure out where everything went wrong. Was it me? Had I not been enough? Too boring? Too safe? Safe was what she called me once, in a teasing way, but now it felt like a label for irrelevance. I remembered the mornings we'd shared coffee, the late nights watching old movies, the little traditions we had, like leaving post-it notes for each other on the fridge. I thought those were bonds, sacred in their quietness. But apparently, she didn't think the same. She had found someone else, someone who could excite her in ways I couldn't. Or maybe someone who was just convenient. I didn't rage. I didn't storm out. I didn't cry. I sat there and felt lighter. The weight of holding on to something that had already left without me finally lifted. It was strange. Bitter, yes. But there was clarity in it too. And then came the next few days, the real test. The way she moved on publicly, as if she wanted everyone to see, to validate her choice. Pictures on social media, hashtags I didn't even want to read, parties with him, laughter that wasn't mine anymore. Every post felt like a small punch, a reminder that I wasn't part of her story anymore. But something unexpected started happening. The anger didn't build like I thought it would. The hurt didn't grow into obsession. Instead, I began to notice details I hadn't seen before. My apartment felt quieter, yes, but not sadder. My mornings, once shadowed by anticipation of her presence, now felt like they were mine again. My space, my coffee, my music, my time. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, a different kind of clarity settled in. A contrast I hadn't recognized until I stopped fighting it. Her happiness, or what she called happiness, wasn't mine to carry. I had been carrying expectations, memories, and hopes that belonged to a relationship that had already ended. And for the first time, I realized that maybe I didn't need her to define my life anymore. I still remember the moment I walked past her apartment window that weekend. She and her new fiancé, Oliver, standing there, laughing, leaning into each other like they'd always existed in the world I had shared with Emily. The instinct was there, to feel small, bitter, replaced, but I didn't. I turned the corner and felt something I hadn't felt in months. A weird, sharp sense of freedom. Freedom not from love, but from expectation. Freedom not from attachment, but from carrying a weight that wasn't mine to bear. And in that moment, I made a decision I hadn't yet voiced, even to myself. I wouldn't just survive this. I wouldn't just recover. I would thrive. And if Emily's new chapter required my absence, so be it. Monday morning arrived like any other, but for the first time in weeks, I felt the difference. No dread, no creeping anxiety about texts I might receive or posts I might see. My phone buzzed a few times, friends checking in, memes, ordinary chatter, and I smiled at each one, aware that my world had subtly shifted. Emily's life was no longer my metric, no longer the barometer of my worth. It wasn't easy. Some nights, the memories tried to sneak in, soft and sly. A late-night snack we had shared, a song she hummed under her breath, the way she used to touch my shoulder when I walked into the room. Those flashes hurt, a brief sting, but they didn't linger. I had learned something crucial. Emotional pain only controls you when you allow it to. And I wasn't going to allow it anymore. Then came the unexpected part. 2 weeks after her announcement, a message appeared on my phone. Not from Emily, but from her best friend, Sophie. "Hey, Liam, can we talk?" I stared at the screen. My first instinct was skepticism, the second, irritation. "Why now?" I typed back carefully. "What about?" Sophie's reply came quickly. "It's about Emily. I think you should know the truth. She's not happy. With him. With any of this." I didn't know who else to tell. For a moment, I felt the old curiosity flicker. But then I remembered the freedom I had found, the clarity, the peace. I didn't reply immediately. I sat back and let the message rest. I had a choice. React emotionally or continue forward. Forward one. Over the next few days, Sophie sent a few more messages, each more revealing. Emily's fiancé, Oliver, wasn't who he appeared to be. Charming on the surface, yes, but controlling in ways that Sophie had noticed from the start. And Emily? She was realizing that leaving me hadn't given her the excitement, the love, or the fulfillment she thought it would. Part of me felt something I hadn't expected. A flicker of pity. Not for Emily, not really, but for the idea she had of love. The illusion that a new person could erase the past, erase me. But I didn't gloat. That wasn't the point. The point was I had survived a personal storm, and the clarity I had gained, my own life, my own choices, was still intact. Weeks turned into a month. My routine solidified. I started taking my mornings seriously again. Running through the park near my apartment, listening to music I loved, journaling my thoughts. I reconnected with friends I had neglected, laughing more freely than I had in years. My apartment, once shadowed by uncertainty and regret, became a sanctuary. Then came the moment that truly marked my rebirth. I was at a small cafe downtown, sipping coffee and writing in my journal, when I saw her, Emily, walking past the window, looking different somehow. Tired, maybe a little lost. She caught my eye for a second, and there was hesitation, recognition, something unspoken. But I didn't break my gaze to meet hers. I didn't need to. My world, my peace, was no longer tied to hers. It was a strange, liberating power, the kind you only feel when you stop waiting for validation from someone who chose to leave. And in that quiet, almost mundane moment, I realized I didn't want her back. I wanted myself back. The Liam who didn't shrink, who didn't chase after love that wasn't reciprocated, who didn't make someone else's happiness the metric of his own life. By the time I walked out of the cafe, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Anticipation for my own story, my own adventures, my own future. Emily's wedding was still weeks away, and I had no desire to interfere. She would have her life, I would have mine. Two parallel paths, once intertwined, now moving forward separately. Months later, I received another message. This one from Emily herself. "Liam, can we talk?" I paused. For a moment, I felt the old ache, the curiosity. But I smiled. I typed back a simple message. I hope you're happy, Emily. And that was it. No anger, no longing, no begging, just acknowledgement, closure, and peace. I realized then that the story we had shared wasn't erased by her choices. It was part of me, part of my journey, and it had prepared me for the life I was building now. Stronger, freer, and unbound by anyone else's decisions. I don't know if Emily ever realized the impact of our time together, and I don't need her to. What mattered was that I had learned to walk away with dignity, to honor myself above the chaos of someone else's choices, and to embrace a life that I truly owned. And as I closed my journal that evening, the sun casting warm light across my apartment, I felt a deep, resonant truth. Sometimes the greatest love story isn't about holding on to someone else. It's about finding yourself when they're gone.